also have to send a big shout out to Donnie Samson because we've been doing this for over 20 years. And I don't know why, but I never came across his dad, Danny. And I never had a chance to talk and meet Donnie. And then several months ago, we did. And I said, oh my gosh, Donnie Samson, where have you been all my life? And I felt that way because we just had an immediate connection on the phone. And thank you for allowing us to be here.
So we don't have any fancy slides, any other things that we're going to do today. We're just going to get up here and talk. And a lot of it is going to be unscripted, kind of how we do. We're going to be talking about the psychology of real estate and just some of the things to talk about with your clients. You know, with all the great things that the Ellises and Jason had to share with everybody up here today and whatever little tidbits that we may have, here's the honest truth. Only 1% of the people sitting here are actually going to do something meaningful with what was said in this room today 3 months from now. You're all going to be here. You walk out of here thinking what you're writing down, what you're doing. So probably the biggest challenge to you, whichever person you get it from, whichever idea, take something from this and do it. Make a change in your real estate career. I know that Jason kept harping on that throughout his talk up here, but that is really the key. You need to actually take things for action, because going to events and listening and writing notes and doing all that is great, but it only means something if you actually hold yourself accountable and do something with it. Anyway, so much for the lecturing. Go ahead.
So to begin with, which is really important, and it's a lot of simple things. We're going to give you these tips and these habits today, and really they're going to cost you nothing. You just have to commit to doing them. And to begin with the psychology of real estate, with a lot of times, you know, it starts actually with a phone call, and it starts with answering the phone. Do you answer the phone? You're laughing. Do you answer the phone when the phone rings? Or do you let it go to voicemail? Because if you let it go to voicemail, you've already lost. The phone is so important. Pick it up and answer.
As Donnie and Eminem would say, you've only got one shot. And that is when that phone rings. If you don't answer it and it goes to voicemail, the odds of that person who this is the first time they're calling you and you're not answering it because it's an unknown number, the odds of that person ever responding to your call later on has gone down by 70%. You've lost a person. That is why when they call, doesn't matter what the number is, it's answering that phone. And then how you answer.
That is huge. I mean, when someone does answer, it already elevated the perception of you, if it's you, because they're almost expecting to get a voicemail. So when you answer your phone, how do you sound when you answer? I can't tell you how many times I will call someone, especially if I have to call another agent, and they answer, hello. And I think, oh my gosh, I mean, it sounds terrible. So I'll introduce myself, and then I'll ask them, is anything wrong? And it's because I want them to recognize you sounded terrible. You should be upbeat. You should be positive. You should be happy, because you never know when it's going to be a client calling. And how many times do you see where it says, and it does, it says scam likely, or it says telemarketer? What do? You don't answer. I answer. And I'll tell you why. One, I figured out a lot of the dialers that are used through the CRM, every so often, it will come through as a scam likely. So you just don't know. So you're better off. What's the worst thing that can happen? And if you need practice on the phone, there's no better people to practice on than telemarketers It really is. I had a call a few months ago, and and I knew it was going to be a telemarketing call, and he was terrible. One, he was not articulate. He had marbles in his mouth. I didn't understand what he was saying. I listened, and then I said to him, "May I give you some advice?" And he was like, "Okay." And I said, "I think you ought to look at going into a different industry and not being a telemarketer, because you're not going to do well. You talk too fast. You weren't articulate." And, so at the end of the conversation, he was actually very nice. And whether I helped him or not, who knows? But it gave him something to think about, because I could tell after talking to him that no one had ever told him this before. But I asked him if he was doing well.
He now says, "Can I supersize that for you?"
Right. I said, "Are you doing well?" And he didn't admit that he was. So, sometimes I'm just brutally honest with people, but it's important. But answer the phone. And when you do answer the phone, be upbeat, be positive, make them excited to hear your voice and talk to you.
It is amazing. We do end up spending a lot of time together. We sometimes answer together. The team will say sometimes we are the same person.
It's terrible.
That we'll go into one department, and I'll say something to him. 5 minutes later, Ronna goes in, and they start laughing, and she says, "Did he just come in and say the same thing to you?" Yes, he did.
Yes.
But I do hear Ronna on the phone, and it is amazing. Some of the worst people on the phone out there are realtors. And the reason for that, I believe, is realtors get a lot of phone calls, and they are on edge about who is calling them, who's bothering them now, who's trying to recruit them, who is trying to sell them something. But again, you don't want to have to recover when it is a client that is looking to buy or sell. And if you answered that phone, "Hello," then you're not going, then it's all uphill battle from there. How do you answer the phone?
"Hi, this is Ronna. How may I help you?" And I do. I always say, "Hello, this is Ronna." And I always sound upbeat, positive. It's very rare. I mean, if I'm in the middle of something and it's not a good time for me, I have to let it go to voicemail, but it is rare. I try to answer the phone all the time. If not, I'm usually on the phone. And we'll get to that in a minute. So one of the things, though, is your greeting. I mean, do you have, because I always think, do you have an automated greeting, or is it you in your voicemail? You're shaking your head. Who's got automated? Do you have an automated, or you're just not? Because I'll call you. I have a list of the roster. And I'm going to find out. It's really important for it to be you. It really is. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out, but it's got to be you. It makes such a difference. Here's one of the things that's a pet peeve of mine. Google
Voice. It's
Google
probably
Voice,
the worst
Google
thing you can ever
Subscriber.
think of out there in the world.
Because it really says, "Please state your name, and I will see if the Google subscriber is available." And then you have to put your name in. And I think you're going to lose either way. I kind of feel like if I leave my name, will they answer? If I don't leave my name, if I say who it is, I mean, you can't go, nothing good comes out of that.
And clients think, am I going to have to deal with this every time and figure out? And they're never going to call you again. They're just going to hang up, and they're going to go on to a different realtor. So it's just a lose-lose to have a Google Voice on your response.
But if you do get voicemail, do you leave a message? Because most people don't leave a message. They'll hang up and they'll try back, or they'll text. Leave a message. And my message is simple. It's like, "Hi, this is Ronna. I'm sorry that I missed you. Please give me a call back at 410-300-9500. And if by chance you get my voicemail, I'm probably on the phone, so please leave me a message, and I'll call you back as soon as I can." That's it. But I give them direction. You have to give people direction when you leave a message, because they won't necessarily do anything. And I know that sounds crazy, but they won't. From 2003 to 2018, which is a lot of years, I was inside sales. I answered every single phone call I answered every single email and every single text. No one else. Finally, in 2018, I got help, but it was me. And I had to do it for a team. It was a much smaller team, but I was responsible because those people were depending on me for their livelihood. So I made it my mission that I had to get very good on the phone, and I had to make sure that I could grab as many people as I could.
You know, everything we're going to talk about up here today is just tips and habits that people can do. There's nothing that you would have to spend a dime on. This is all things that you can just do, and it really doesn't even cause you to do anything extra than you're currently doing. It just talks about doing it a little bit differently. And I can tell you some of the topics we're going to get into today. First of all, any one of these topics could be a full day discussion, workshop, so forth. But so we're just going to be touching on highlights of a lot of it. But it really, some of them, the way we approach it and the way we've taught our team to approach it is going to be counterintuitive to what a lot of people have been taught out there in the industry. When we talk about how we react with clients, how we have discussions with clients, and what we do. And again, to just full disclosure, this and disclaimer, this is just our opinions and how we think is the best way to deal with clients.
One quick thing I want to just something to put in your head when you're writing a text or you're sending an email, and this is an easy one, you've got to write it and then you've got to read it again before you send it. And I don't mean about, misspelling errors. And I love the people that say, I have large fingers, sorry for the brevity or whatever it is. But you have to read it basically aloud to see how that tone is. Did you ever get a text or an email from someone and you thought it didn't sound very nice? And are they, and like they're writing to you in capital letters and exclamation points, and now they're yelling at you, right? So you've got to really think about how you write and how you say things. I tend to be very flowery. And what I mean by that is I really try to start out with something nice, and I also try to end with something nice, but I still get my message through in the middle.
You know, one thing you have to think about when you are texting people is the way you are thinking of it and the way that enunciation is coming across. You may be thinking of it one way, the way it can be read can be very differently because they're not hearing that tone, those pauses, the enunciation. So you have to be careful to make sure that you're writing things that can't be misinterpreted, such as you're at a home and somebody's late for an appointment. And
so have you ever gone somewhere to meet a client and you're looking at your clock and you think they're not here, are they coming, and you want to write to them right away, or you want to call them. So the best thing you can't say to them, I'm here at the house, where are you? Because that doesn't sound so good. So I call it giving you a pass, and I do it all the time with everyone.
Because when you say it, you could be thinking, hi, I'm at the house. Where are you? They read it, I'm at the house. Where are you? And so those same words can be interpreted so differently. So Ronna is always thinking about how do I say it? So how would you say it?
Hi, it's Ronna. I'm here at the house. If you're running late, no worries. I'm going to get the house open and take a look around. Whenever you get here, it's just fine. I'll see you soon. So it makes a difference. Everything matters. Everything counts. And yes, does it take more words and more thoughts to do? It does, but it makes a difference because my intention was to hold on to every single client. Because when you get a client, there's a lot of highs and lows throughout that whole transaction, right? When you first start out with them, everything's great and they love you and you're wonderful and blah, blah, blah. And then there's some things that happen throughout the transaction and now they look like they're ready to kill you because it just happens. There's a lot of emotions with selling a home. So you have to just make sure that every step of the way, you're ahead of it. You have to think ahead on every step. Let's talk about meeting the client. This is going to be really something odd because you're not ever going to believe this, and this is something that we have done about connecting with clients. Which one? I do. So, who has heard of the movie Erin Brockovich, and who has seen it? Raise your hand. Okay, it's a great movie, right? And for those of you, is there anybody that has not seen the movie? Okay, so everybody pretty much knows what it's about. All right, so real quick, I'm going to read it. I wrote it down because this is what it really is. Erin Brockovich is the story about a tenacious, unemployed single mom who, after stumbling into a job at a law firm, she single-handedly uncovered a massive corporate cover-up, leading to the largest direct action lawsuit settlement in U.S. history. True story, and it was against Pacific Gas and Electric, known as PG&E, for polluting a small town's water supply with chromium-6, which caused severe illnesses in residents there. This is an important clip to watch.
So we're going to play the clip from the movie?
Those
And
are
then
my
we're going to
files.
talk about it.
Yeah, we had them couriered over. And listen, good work. They're a great start. We're just going to have to spend a little time filling in the holes in your research.
Excuse me, Teresa, is it? There are no holes in my research.
No offense. They're just some things we need that you probably didn't know to ask.
Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot, okay? I may not have a law degree, but I've spent 18 months on this case, and I know more about these plaintiffs than you ever will.
Erin, you don't even have phone numbers for some of them.
Whose number do you need?
Everyone's. This is a lawsuit. We need to be able to contact the plaintiffs.
I said, whose number do you need?
You don't know 600 plaintiffs' numbers by heart. Annabelle Daniels.
Annabelle Daniels, 714-454-9346. 10 years old, 11 in May, lived on the Plume since birth. Wanted to be a synchronized swimmer, so she spent every minute she could in the PG&E pool. She had a tumor in her brainstem detected last November. An operation on Thanksgiving shrunk it with radiation after that. Her parents are Ted and Rita. Ted's got Crohn's disease. Rita has chronic headaches and nausea and underwent a hysterectomy last fall. Ted grew up in Hinckley. His brother Robbie and his wife May and their 5 children, Robbie Jr., Martha, Ed, Rose, and Peter, also lived on the Plume. Their number is 454-9554. You want their diseases?
Okay, look, I think we got off on the wrong foot here.
The next part had to be bleeped, so
We had to edit that.
we didn't play that one.
All right, nothing
But-
to do with real estate, but there's a purpose behind this.
But the question is that, and all of us as realtors have to get similar information when we're working with clients. The only way you can really help a client is to understand about them, what their motivation is for buying or selling a home, and the best way to do that is to find out information. This is where we think realtors make some of the biggest mistakes that there are out there in the industry. Go ahead.
So one of the things that people can't help but do is you're asking questions to the client, but you end up interjecting yourself continuously through the questioning. You're asking them questions. Let them talk and listen to what they're saying. Don't interject your story. It's not important.
Example, somebody brings out the phone and they show you their dog, and they're going to start talking about the picture of the dog, and you have a dog. So what is the realtor's first response? They pull out their phone and start showing pictures of their dog too. No, you don't do it. It doesn't matter that you have a dog. It doesn't matter that your kids went to the same school as them. They play the same sports. You go to the same church or synagogue or whatever it might be. You have all these things in common. What do you do instead of bringing out pictures of your dog?
You start asking them, that's a cute dog. Is that a basset hound? How old is it? Boy or girl? What's their name? Do you have any other pets? It can go on and on and on. But, it was important to me to steer the conversation always back to them. I wanted to make everything about them. don't, people want to be relatable. So the first thing most agents do is they start talking about themselves, or they are comparing what they have to what the client just said. For us, we just didn't do it that way. And we taught our team, don't do it that way. It'll swing back to you here and there. And if they ask you a question, of course you have to answer. But I always made it about the client. Everything was about the client. I knew everything there was to know about all of our clients. I got a lot of information.
She was the Aaron Brockovich of real estate. And I can tell you, so just like the Ellises, we would go out on all buyer appointments and listing appointments together. We were yin and yang, and we did things differently. And I can tell you that by the end of seeing the first house, Ronna knew what they like to do as hobbies, how far their work was from where we were looking at homes, what they did for a living, about their children, about their pets, about their relatives, about who was going to be in the house. Did they have relatives that visited once a year? What did they need the space for? It was incredible. And yes, Erin Brockovich had an incredible memory, and she was able to do that. But as Jason said earlier, you have a CRM. So use that CRM as your memory. So at the end of that, when you get back in the car, you take a minute and you put everything you just heard into that CRM and have that for future reference.
Don't procrastinate. It's a huge, huge problem. It's an epidemic. Most people start because every day they make a list. And we laughed because you put something on the list, you take it off the list. Or you say, it's too late to do that. I didn't start it early enough. Or, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. By the time you make a list of who you were supposed to call that day, I could have already picked up the phone and called 4 of those people. So don't wait. That was one of the things that we admired about Samson. When you're on the phone, or this happened to me, with a Samson staff member, I no sooner would ask for information or something to be set up, and all of a sudden, there goes an email. It's already in process. It's already being done. It is Samson fast. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I thought our group was fast, and they blew us out of the water. They do what they say they're going to do, and they do it quickly. And that's the best thing you can do. And I think the Ellis has said, it's not as important, how it is. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to do it. And you have to be quick about it. People wait too long to take care of things.
How many people here are list people, that they make their daily lists?
I do make a list.
And their weekly and long-term lists.
I do. But
think about how many things on that list, by the time you've written it down on the list, that you get writing down on the list that you need to call someone, and you need to do that, and the notes that you need to talk to them about, that you could have just picked up the phone, had that phone call, and be putting it in the CRM and be done. And it never needed to even go on the list. I mean, that is, and people think that they accomplish things by making their lists and eventually checking things off the list. And like Ronna said, some of the checkoffs that we do are because now it's too late. That passed a week ago, so now I can check it off my list because I can't do it anymore. Procrastination and not actually taking action on things is a killer.
And these really are just habits that if you can change, your real estate career will change. I promise you. If you can just take away a few of the things that all of us told you today, it makes such a difference. It really does. You can't use the same script for everyone. Does everybody know what I mean about that? Each person is different. So sometimes, and we all have we have the same goal. Obviously, it's to sell their home or to help them buy a home. That's the finish line. But to get there with each person is going to be different. Sometimes it works great one way, and sometimes you can fall on your face another way. Everybody's different. You have to engage in active listening, and then you have to pivot, and you have to change what you're doing. The best thing you can be as a real estate agent is flexibility, because there's one thing you can count on with real estate, just one thing. You cannot count on anything. And that's the truth. You just can't. So you have to be able to adjust quickly.
You know, active listening, you know, people think, well, I listen, I do that. Active listening is not natural and is something that you really have to work at and train yourself to do. Active listening means that when somebody is talking to you and telling you something or doing it, you're not in your mind trying to formulate a response, which is what we all try to do. We sit there and we're thinking about how we're going to answer the question that they're asking. If you were thinking of that in your mind, you're not active listening. You're missing a lot of things that they're saying. What you should be ready to do at the end of it is, after you heard what they said, ask them another question. Let them do the talking. Don't feel that it's responsible on you to come up with an answer all the time. Many times they already have the answer that they want. They already know what they want to talk about. That is their way of conveying the information to you. So, and going back to Erin Brockovich, the way she was able to obtain that information from all those clients was not telling them about herself or what she did or what the law firm did or anything else. She just asked them one question after another. And you will find that if you start making it about the client and ask them questions, they open up and they will tell you things that probably even their direct family doesn't know. It is unbelievable what people will talk about and what they want to talk about.
And then when they do tell you, you got to keep the secret, because that's really important. Whatever they have told you, make sure you keep that to yourself.
I can tell you that we would go on appointments and we would have all this information about them. They would think like we are intimate friends at that point in time. They know everything. They've told their story. They don't even know our last name.
At the end of a listing appointment, they ask us two questions always. They would say, what is your last name? So that would be one. And the second question would be, are you married? And it was really funny because we just took for granted that they would know that, but they didn't. So, and they were talking, I mean, we let them talk the entire time, and we asked a whole bunch of questions and really got to know them. And they liked us for basically allowing us to let them do that. And it works. It works all the time. I think, and if you want to practice with people you know. And don't even tell them what you're doing. But you have to practice, and you have to get used to doing it and get comfortable.
Whatever data that you convey to them as a realtor, many times they're just thinking of that as, okay, this is the realtor pitch, this is the sales pitch, this is the information. Letting them talk about themselves, what their wants, their desires are, because everybody's is different. What we want in a home, what you want in a home, what different people want in a home is not the same. And until you find out, and by letting them talk, what their motivation is, you find they have relatives that visit from overseas for 2 months a year, and they have to have a place in their house for them to stay, or whatever it might be. You've got to understand their motivation for what they want in a home and what they're buying, which, again, is not always what we are thinking.
There is, tell them about Stephen Covey.
So there's a old book out there, and there's multiple new generations of it. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, and that's one of the very good books, in my opinion, to talk about active listening and understanding, and really taking and changing the habits of the way you do things in relations with people.
You seek first to understand before trying to be understood. And that's really powerful when you think about that. And that's important. You know, I always tell people, you seek first to understand before trying to be understood. It works. It really does. I always tell people, I am a person first who just happens to have a real estate license. Because I have found, and you can use that line, so go ahead and write that down. It works. My whole team uses it. Our whole team uses it. When we first got into this business, and Donnie allowed us to do an interview with him, we had traveled to a lot of different states, and every state we traveled in, we had different real estate agents, and we bought a home. And we had one bad agent after another. I mean, they were awful. They were really bad. And we just thought, that is not the way it should be. And it, unfortunately, you know, real estate agents always have a bad stigma. Usually in movies or in TV shows, there's always they always make them a caricature. They're always ridiculous. They're always being made fun of. And it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you should take pride in what you do and how you do it. But only you can make that difference.
Other behaviors, whether it's at a training event, whether you're with clients, whether you're with, if you have a team or a small team, or you're at another thing that I would recommend to everybody, lose the phone. If you're sitting there going through and looking at emails,
Everybody just looked up. It's okay.
and if you're doing that, it's rude. Walk out of the room, go and do whatever business you have to do, and come back in if it's that important. But you know, you took people have taken time to make a commitment to come in and talk with you, whether that's a client, whether that's people in a presentation, and you need to have that commitment back for them. So you know that there is that's just one other thing. As soon as a client sees you pick up a phone in front of them, or that you're scrolling through and looking at it while you're in the middle of a listing presentation, or you're walking through a house with them and showing them, and you're taking other texts and emails and so forth, they just look at it as, I'm not important enough on your list. So I am not going to, and then the next thing you find out is when you call them again, their phone goes to voicemail because they've already moved on. You know, here's, as Jason said, Zillow is the biggest platform out there in the industry. We are big players within the Zillow market. And one of the things that they say is the leads that come in to Zillow, 70% of them will purchase a house within 1 year. They also go through an average of 7.4 real estate agents during that 1 year period. The odds go up tremendously for the ones that go and actually meet the clients in person. But the idea of, when you talk to a prospective client, any of these faux pas that happen out there, you don't realize how quickly they will disengage from you. And one of the other things to talk about out there is, when people ghost you, and the idea of it's not always means that they don't want to talk to you. Give an example of that.
Who in the room has been ghosted? You met somebody, it's like everybody, right? It's like constant. You can't help it. Well, all I can tell you is don't take it personally. I never took it personally. I didn't care. Didn't matter to me that they were not answering the phone. I made it my mission to keep calling them. And I still sounded happy, and I sounded upbeat, and I basically said, our group, it's important to us to have good follow through. So I'm going to check again with you tomorrow, because I wanted them to know that I'm not giving up. Here's the deal. They didn't need me. They don't need you right now. That's why they're ghosting you. But they're not going to give you that information. They're just not. So what do? They won't call you back. But it doesn't mean they're not listening to your voicemail. It doesn't mean they're not reading your text. It doesn't mean they're not looking at the email that you sent them. So I would write really nice emails. I would send really good texts, and I would leave great messages. And I kept doing it, knowing that until they say to me, Ronna, leave me alone, I didn't stop. And even if somebody says to you, leave me alone, you say to them, are you sure? Because you have to do that. It's one last time. But I mean, it's funny, but it's true. You just don't stop. Because unless they say that to you, they're actually not telling you to leave them alone. That is part of the psychology. They're not telling you that. What they're telling you is, I just don't need you right now. And I'm not going to really explain why, because I don't need to, and it's not important. You're my realtor, maybe. So, but that's okay. It's okay. Don't get mad. Just fluff it off. Who cares? Doesn't matter.
And this goes back to the first meeting with the client, or early on meetings with the client. Meeting the client and asking them questions about them. Because you think about it, once they have kind of divulged all this information and shared it with you, unless you do something really bad, they're going to want to keep working with you because they don't want to have to go through that whole process again and tell somebody else that.
You do the same thing. If you have a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, I'm sorry, I just cut you off, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, anybody that you use regularly, unless they tick you off or do something wrong, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep using them. Do you feel that way? I do, right? They have to do something bad in order for you to be like, I am getting somebody new, right? I mean, that's just how it is. So it's the same thing with you.
So be one of those 1 out of 7 realtors that they continue to work with and they're going to close that home with. There's 2 challenges out there. There's the one challenge of getting the lead and getting people to work with. That's a whole different training day and topic, which was also covered well with the Ellises and Jason. But this is talking about once you get that opportunity, how do you make the most of it, and how do you get them to work with you rather than one of the other realtors that are out there? Because everybody out there knows a realtor. There's a lot of us out there.
Everybody does. And, and this is just because just want to make the point across. So in our career, I can tell you that our veterinarian, the owner of the nail salon that I go to, our pharmacist, our dry cleaner.
Our dry cleaner bought 7 houses with us.
And here was the thing. All these people, they had a lot of clients themselves or customers and that were real estate agents, but they chose us. So that was really important to me.
Some of the best agents on our team right now were our clients. Some of our top agents. They finished one career and they had worked with us, and then they said, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. Could I join your team? And they are some top producers. One of them just did how many? Let's see, almost. Mike did. He's going to sell just over 50 homes this year for about $37 million.
And he was a past client. So we kind of felt like we had a system that worked. And it's not that we are better than anyone else. It's not that we, just came up with some kind of magic. We just really listened to people. We studied people. We were nice and try to continue to be nice, and just really cared. And people can see that if it's legitimate, and they'll work with you.
Well, and I think we're going to run out of time to go through some of these topics, but somebody sent in a question, and the question, what was the question about?
Okay. So one of the questions that was sent in to us earlier was, somebody asked, was there a particular book or books that shaped your business that was really relevant to you?
So that actually was the case. There's a book called Soar with Your Strengths, and we have kind of embraced that throughout our whole time of building a team. And Soar with Your Strengths is basically, it's very simple. You take a 3rd grader that is fantastic in math. They're already at the 7th grade level, and they're just tremendous. But they're suffering in reading and writing. And what does the school system tend to do? Okay, we need to put you in more remedial reading and writing classes because that's a weakness. Our thought process is, well, you're probably never going to be good at reading and writing, but you might be the next Einstein. So let's forget about reading and writing. There's other people that could do that for you. Take and concentrate on math and really develop that. When we hire staff for our group and even agents, we have interviews and we evaluate them based on what they're good at and what their desires are, what excites them. Then many times we will build the position around that. We now have 20 support staff in different departments, and that's how we created it. And Ronna will say we took the typical real estate agent, and going back to Jason again, is that if he doesn't get enough kudos, he certainly does and deserves them. But it's like a lot of realtors do a lot of things mediocre, and they don't. But there's probably every one of the realtors has a passion of things that they really enjoy about it. So it's finding that passion and getting other people to do the other parts of it. Well, we just did it at a team level. So
when we started out, it was just the two of us. I mean, we never thought about building a team. We got busy and we needed help. So we started, our first year we did the video. So our first year in the business, we did sell 99 homes. He was mad because we didn't sell 100. Did the best we could. We were running, but we needed help. And we didn't set out to have a team, and our team knows that. So then we started to assemble people that could help us, and so we're not any different than any of you. We just got up and did it, and we did it out of necessity because it was what we needed to do. And it's a mindset. If you believe that you can do this and do this well, then you will do it well. And you look for people that are like-minded. And if you have a question, ask them. They will help you. People call us, we did, but people call us all the time. So I encourage everybody, if you have a question, call us. I will answer. He will answer your question. We took the typical real estate agent and we sliced them up into departments, and that's really how we did it. We have a client services department. They do all their licensed agents. They do all the processing. They assist with some transaction coordinating, although we have TCs if people want to use them. And they do all the marketing for listings, and that is their specialty, and they do it over and over again. And then we have our marketing department. So for the agents that love marketing, you have to decide, do you want to be a marketer for somebody else, or do you want to be a sales agent? I mean, it's really hard to do both. Our marketing is headed up by an associate broker, and one of our marketing people is here today. Where are you, Olivia? There she is, our social media. And they do all the social media marketing, the brand marketing, and the agent marketing. And then we also have, thank goodness, these people I was so happy to hire. They are the unsung heroes. It's our inside sales department. And they keep their licensed agents, and they keep that department open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. So we never miss a phone call, a text, or an email. I'm thrilled because it used to be just me. And then we have an operations team. And here's what we did to these poor people. These were some of our top salespeople. I mean, they were killing it. Or they were in management with the brokerage. We assembled them to say, will you step aside from doing all these sales and help everyone else on the team? So you help with negotiation, putting together contracts, compliance questions, and they did. So all their knowledge now is out throughout the team, so that people have someone to go to basically 7 days a week to answer a question. Because for a long time, it was me that answered every single lead, and Bob answered every single contract question for the entire team. And that was 24/7. So he always said, I'd much rather you call me on a Saturday night at 11 p.m. than it be a problem on Monday morning at 9. And they did.
And I know we must be running over time because Donnie
But
is
Donnie's
pacing.
pacing.
I'm not pacing. Oh, wow. There. It went from 0 to 100 there. I'm not pacing. Sorry. I'm just excited because I know you guys are going to be open for Q&A, but you guys finish up. I'm sorry to be awkward. I'll move to the side.
All
Well,
right.
we don't have a clock up here, so we don't know how long
No.
we've been talking.
So don't respond on behalf of your clients. Does anybody know what I mean by that? What do I mean by that?
Go ahead.
Perfect. answer.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And
Yay.
that is
Perfect.
you
answer.
are the go-between. You should never be negotiating for your client. You don't take and start responding and going back and forth with the other agent. And you'll find agents in this business all day long that will do that. Let them do that. Let them finish talking, say, I'll bring it to my client and I'll get back to you. Don't feel that you need to start responding to people. That this again is topics all over the board, and we're just gonna
because
touch
it
on a
is. It's
couple
all
of them.
psychology because you have to do this with your clients. You have to have difficult conversations. Those are the worst, right? You're going to have to talk about repairs in their house.
You know, we are in a new market again where request for repairs is a normal course of events. For years it wasn't. If agents here are after COVID began, there was not a lot of repairs being done in homes. It was bidding wars and just what could you do to get the house. Well, repairs and requests for repairs are back. But we are bringing back old habits and things that you need to do to succeed in that. So I would tell you one of the biggest things in requests for repairs, whether you have the seller or the buyer, you need to prepare them. When you don't communicate with them and you're afraid to communicate with them because what you're looking at having to deal with, that is when things fall apart. And we've seen more contracts fall apart during this time frame than in a long time. You need to, if you have a seller, one of the habits that we've always done, if it's a house that you know there's going to be a lot of repairs come back on, and they come back and they're asking for a number of things, the first thing we do with the seller is say, we're putting in to ask for a 5-day extension to respond so we can get quotes from contractors. And you'd be amazed at how quickly that diffuses the seller.
Just 10%.
Because all of a sudden now they're not worried about trying to address every item. We know that we're going to get quotes for it. It's like you can't answer this request for repairs without knowing what it means to you dollar-wise. So let's get quotes for you to be able to address it so that it diffuses that. The same thing with buyers. You need to let buyers know before that home inspection even happens. Realize this home inspector's job is to find every little thing that is wrong with this house. And they're going to come back with a phone book of items. New construction, the home inspector is going to find 30+ items on the house that should be repaired. So understand that up front. That does not mean it's a good house, does not mean it's a bad house. Just here's the items in the list, then you're going to take a time to really go through and what's important to you. And what becomes a honey-do list.
It's also important, and listen, because this is a good one, you have to make sure it's important that everyone feels in the transaction like they have won. They have to feel like they have won. And that's not easy to do. That's the buyer, the seller, and that other agent. If you can accomplish that, you will have a very good transaction. And that will make for more transactions.
We actually teach our agents, if you see that the other agent might be a new agent and they're struggling, help give them the answers to give to their clients. Help them along. If they take and are successful in communicating to their client, it's going to be more likely that there's not going to be issues for your client and what needs to be done there. So you don't win, your client doesn't win unless everybody on that process wins. So just always remember that you want to always make everybody win. And we always say to do any of this, the one thing that you have to do is check your ego and arrogance at the door, and really take and just be professional, but be humble.
Your
And do what
success
you
is
do.
going to speak for itself. You really don't have to. You really don't have to say too much. One other quick thing. Dress a notch up if you can, because people notice. They really do. So whatever you're wearing today, if you can make it just a little bit elevated tomorrow, people will start to notice.
That's our opinion.
We had a. Can I tell them the story? We had an entire group meeting, and it was in person, and we were at the Samson office in Gaithersburg, and it was the first time after we joined. And when we joined Samson, it was not an easy move because there were so many of us, and there was just so much to do. So it actually took like 2-3 weeks to move the whole team. But we were having the meeting in September, and I said to Donnie, I said, would you mind wearing a suit to the meeting? Because most of our team members are going to come dressed up.
She's saying that, but she said it in the most respectful, elegant way. Would you mind wearing a sport coat? But it was like so kind, and I was like, of course I will. But it was funny.
And he
So
did. He wore
I
suit.
always give her a hard time about that.
He looked great. He did.
You know what's funny, and it's the absolute furthest from the truth, is because Samson is 100% brokerage. There's a lot in the industry. I'll say, including us, until we got to know Samson,
Yes, us too.
that automatically think of Samson as being a discount brokerage.
And it's wrong.
So
It is
all the
so
things that we
wrong.
can do to, and
Yeah.
it's just the
Elevate that.
opposite of that. I can tell you, we've been with Berkshire Hathaway, Long and Foster, Coldwell Banker over our 20-year career,
Yep.
and none of them have nearly the level of support that Samson does, and all the things it does for
They
their
do not.
agents. Have the nicest offices, have the greatest support, fantastic title, everything integrated.
Every office is so warm and inviting, and they're so nice, and everybody's upbeat and positive and happy. And if you've been to other brokerages, you know exactly what I mean.
So what can you do to help that brokerage break that image? And our thought process is dress a little nicer, because if you dress a little nicer, it also changes that image. You know, people from Sotheby's, they think, you know, and this is all Samson here, correct?
So it's
Yes.
okay.
No other.
You're safe, Bob.
So
Safe
We're
space.
live on YouTube.
just the idea of other brokerages, and you know, many times you'll see when you see their pictures, they look like a law firm, and you know, everybody's dressed up and they look nice. But they don't have nearly the service level that Samson does. So let's take and do the little bits we can here and there to elevate it. And then when you're out and about, you're thinking, well, I'm just going to the grocery store. Well, if you're any type of realtor, somebody at that grocery store is going to recognize who you are and run into you. And you're going to run into clients and people all the time. And you don't want to look any less professional than you know, if you have to get Instacart or something else.
I got to wear a
if you
suit
can't
to
get
Harris Teeter, too.
You do.
Oh, you're killing me.
We were going to spend some time. If anybody had any questions, we're an open book. We're happy to answer anything.
You know what is really funny is if you try dressing up for 1 week and find the difference in how people treat you in different places. It is really funny, whether it's restaurants, whether it is different things. We went into a crowded restaurant last weekend, dressed similar to what we were now.
We were
on
working.
on a weekend,
Yeah.
and it was a busy
It was crowded.
brunch.
It was.
And the hostess came from around the crowd and said, "How many?" Said, "Just the two of us." Said, "Let me show you a table." And
And all these people are like waiting. And I thought, well, that's not right. And he's like, come on. I was like,
we got to eat and go.
we did,
And so-
I was like, but I
so-
felt bad, you know. I was like, what was the deal? And I kind of looked around and I thought, oh, okay.
and
You know what? I mean, everybody.
Some of them were
kinda
dressed
looked
like
at-
me, and some were dressed like Bob and Ronna.
Donnie had to leave because
I'm
he
still in
didn't
the
get.
lobby waiting for a
he's still in
table.
the line
Wasn't
waiting to
a
get us
logo show.
table.
All right, we're gonna start with a question back here from Lynn.
Lynn.
Hi there. So first off, thank you for giving me permission to freshen up my wardrobe. I will go shopping, and can I send you the bill for everything? I just
Yes, we send it on to Samson.
Okay, got it. Okay, good, perfect. Anyway, I just have one word: wow. This whole day has been a wow. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I didn't see a question in there, but there was a compliment. So good job, Lynn.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run over to Jess. Whoa, almost tripped. Almost tripped.
That would have been great. No, just kidding.
Who said that?
Thank you. I said, yeah. Thank you so much for your presentation, and I really got a lot out of it, first of all. Second, I heard a lot of, the phone etiquette that you shared. There are a lot of, there's a generation now that does not want to be on the phone at all. They only want to text. How do you have clients that you only text and that you haven't actually had a conversation with?
So, yes and no. So
Okay.
some people, and you have a very unique voice.
Thank you.
So that's going to work well for you. I'm going to tell
Okay.
you that right now. Very good. So yes, you have those clients that just want to text. You have to leave them a juicy text. So
Uh-oh.
I didn't say risque. I said juicy. So
So a voice
what?
message.
so that they'll take that phone call from you.
Okay.
And that's what it is. I hate to say it's a game, but it sort of is.
Okay.
You have to go after everybody methodically and over again, and you will get them. You can't give up, but never leave so much information. You have to leave them hanging. You have to leave them
Make them
wanting more
want to
of you.
respond.
Yes.
And
Yes.
remember, one of the things that we said was answering the phone. So that answering the phone, we will come to that is another class, the preferred level of communication, what we do from our inside sales team, how we follow up with clients, what we teach our agents to do. That is a different one. But it can all start by the ones that are going to actually make that phone call to you. Does anybody know the average age of a home buyer in our region right now?
54.
The average age of the home buyer, not the first-time home buyer.
Just a home
The
buyer.
home buyer.
Not for
56.
59
59. Yeah.
is the average
Keep
age
increasing
of
it.
Sarah, you're average.
most of those people use a phone.
Sorry, jokes.
Most of those people use a phone. The average first-time home buyer age is 40. That's the highest it's ever been in the history of this country.
But that's
which is
awesome.
incredible.
Because those 40-year-olds, they've done a lot of stuff except for buying a house. So they've got a lot to tell you that you can get out of them that will help you find them the perfect house. Every age is a great age.
2026 is going to be a phenomenal year
It
in real
is.
estate.
It is. It's going to be
Phenomenal.
really good.
And,
You'll see.
And I can tell you right now that if you just take and commit, everybody has a hard time making a goal for a year and what they're going to do and holding themselves for a year. Just take the next 60 days and give it your all.
No more than that.
And
Don't
you
think beyond
would
that.
be amazed at
what will happen.
that will do to your career and jumpstart it. Don't wait till the first of the year.
Don't.
You've already lost the
that.
first quarter if you wait till the first of the year. Start everything right now. Get moving, get going.
You
do
can
things.
start tomorrow.
Right. And
Wednesday's a great day to get started.
Donnie, one of the things Donnie asked us, he looked at our spreadsheet and our projections, and he was like, "This can't be right." He said, "You have your December and January as busy as May and June." I said, "Yeah, it's gonna be." And he said, "Well, how's that the case?"
I mean, I liked it, but
So this is doesn't really matter, but we have 101 settlements scheduled in December, and we've already got 57 settlements scheduled in January.
That's
It's
woohoo!
that's
the time of year does not matter. What matters is, do you know what? There's a lot of agents taking off this time of year too. So there might be less clients, so take advantage of it and just take a bigger market share during that period of time. That's one of the best things about having us divided into departments, because typical realtor cycle is they go out and they market to try to go get clients. They work really hard. They get some clients. They start working on it. And all of a sudden they got people under contract. They're going to settlement and they say, oh, damn, I better start marketing again to get some other clients. And so it's a vicious cycle. With having it in departments, every department is only focused on their portion. So the marketing never stops. The client services never stops. Everything continues on. So put things in place to make sure that you continue on. It's all about mindset and you taking advantage of that time. But whatever you have done in 2025 can be blown out of the water in 2026. There's so many things lining up for a perfect storm.
Did you have a question over there, Ruth? Oh, somebody's
got the mic.
Oh, that's where it was. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Bob and Ronna. This question was actually for Jason, but I didn't have time to ask him the question.
Jason, hop up.
Jason, on
Get
up.
off the floor.
Are you on a
Jason.
call? Jason's got like
There
3
you go.
calls going at once. Here, I'm gonna let you answer.
So-
The question's for you over there. What's the question for Jason?
So my question is, for a new agent starting out, what did you personally do in the first 0 to 6 months of your career as a real estate agent? 0 to 6 months only for a new agent starting out.
So, fun fact, I was a store manager for Target my first year. So I was working a 50-hour-a-week job at the High Valley Target, if anybody shops there. So I didn't have a lot of time. So I joined a team. I was always on a team. I've only had 5 months of my life where I wasn't on a team or had a team. And so I found the best team I could. I interviewed all the teams I could, and the best team that possibly could take me, I joined. And I plugged into their systems and listened. And what it allowed me to do is have a lot of accountability, because a new agent, the hard part is you just don't know what to do. And then when you're doing it, even if you're doing it well, you don't know if you're doing it correctly because you don't have enough context to your time. And it's so hard to find others to surround yourself with in the office that are willing to give your time or give their time without being in a team structure. So I think I would try to find the absolute best people I possibly could, plug into their systems, and recognize the best thing you can do is give yourself the best environment for your success. The rest will fall in place.
I have a question for you. How
Thank
long have
you.
you been an agent?
Less than a year.
Have you had the opportunity to do any sales?
Still working on one.
Okay.
It's not successful yet.
Okay. All right. Have you been at Samson a year?
Just less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yes.
Okay. This is the only brokerage you've ever been to.
Yes.
Okay. What made you decide to go to Samson?
I
The CEO is really good looking.
The systems in place and the support
Okay.
they
All right.
provide, yes.
Okay. I love questions and I love talking to people and I love finding out
Thank you
about
so
them.
much.
Ronna just did the
do.
bit that she talked about for the last 40 minutes. Instead of she was like digging into her and digging into him and asking his questions. I love it. Julia, I left you back here.
I have a question.
It's
First-
Julia.
Yes, it's
I
Julia.
got to throw something to you, Julia. I saw you when I came in. You have great hair. I just have to tell you that. I was like,
Thank-
oh my God, I love her hair. But
Oh,
anyway,
thank
I
you
saw
so
you.
much.
No, you're welcome.
Okay, so first of all, thanks to everyone today. I've really enjoyed it and I've greatly enjoyed each speech and learned a lot. But one thing I want to ask is, for example, generationally. My generation, I'm probably the last generation that did not grow up with computers. I just turned 57 last week, so yeah, I'm not young, and I struggle with staying on top of technology. So, for example, the first group, they're phenomenal, but I'm completely lost in the sauce. And then Jason spoke on like how much he spends in budgeting for marketing. Obviously, he spends a great deal in marketing, but just in your presentation, it kind of seemed like you all do things more like my generation, kind of old school. So I was kind of curious, what do you all do to you know, what is, how much do you all do the things that they do, I guess is my question.
You're probably not going to want to hear
Not
these
gonna wanna
numbers.
hear this number.
But first of all, I want to let you know that I've never gotten the comment about great hair from Ronna like you just did. So I'm already jealous about that. But so we are a big Zillow Flex team. We're one of the top 3 teams in the country for Zillow Flex.
And we do use Follow Up Boss as our CRM. It's
The
a great
monthly, and we understand we are in the generation with you.
Yep.
So we understand, the lack of technology savviness and all the other things. But I can tell you that shouldn't stop anybody.
Doesn't.
There's, use what you're great at, which is probably people interaction. Can tell just from this short discussion. And you need to, many times you have to take a look at how do you compensate for the other type ones. That's why we take and have all the departments we do. And I can tell you, even the young generation struggles with other things that aren't technology. They struggle with talking on the phone. They struggle with other types of communication. There's all kinds of things that every generation has their challenges with.
You do have to stop and you do have to learn some of the technology, whether you want to or not. You kind of have to do that.
But sometimes it does help, and it doesn't have to be with a team like ours and a big team, something like that, but a band of people that their talents complement each other. And you might have a small group of 3 or 4 people, and they complement each other. And so you have somebody that's up to speed on technology. You do have to be able to learn the technology, how to enter things in a CRM, how to follow up on things, how to do things. But no, are you going to be the best at putting things out on social media, doing all the other things you need to do? Maybe not, but there's other people out there that are. And if you talk to the other resources, I mean, just the Ellis's today and Jason today gave a bunch of great resources that we can go to get those types of help and support. Our marketing budget, a lot of it coming from Zillow, so if anybody knows, Zillow leads cost about an average of $1,200 a lead. Our monthly marketing budget that we get from Zillow is about $1.5 million a month.
That's a big number. Who else we got? Right here.
Well, if your budget is more like $4.77 starting out, what are some things, and I guess like he was saying with you guys just starting out back when what were some things that you would recommend doing that are free or low cost that an agent can do as they get to that, what'd you say, 1 point? Yeah, that number.
To begin with, I do something called planting seeds. Planting seeds is a really easy thing to do. I could spend the day with you, and as long as you went out of the house and you did your errands and you did your grocery shopping or whatever you did, I could show you by the end of the day when you got home the missed opportunities of people you had the chance to talk to or interact with. And not that you're pushing that you're a real estate agent, but you're going to have a conversation where they're going to end up asking you what you do for a living, and you're going to let them know. And I know it sounds crazy, but I did it not even realizing that I was doing it. One of the things that I was horrified about doing when I became an agent was I'm originally from Maryland. Bob was from upstate New York. He came here to go to the Naval Academy and to serve. We had corporate jobs, and we had traveled, and everywhere, I think I told you, everywhere we traveled to, we bought a house, and these agents were terrible. They were just terrible. And a family member of mine had gotten sick, and I said to him, I want to go back to Maryland. I do not want to travel anymore with these jobs. And he said, well, we're not going to be able to recreate these jobs in Maryland. I have an idea. And that's when I said, well, what's your idea? He said, I think we should go into real estate together. And I was like, oh, that's a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. And that's true story. And I knew I was in trouble when I came back and I said to my sister, we're going to do real estate. And she says to me, well, that's good, but what are you all going to do for a real job? And I thought, Oh my gosh. So I didn't want anyone that I knew to know that we were doing real estate. I thought they're going to think, what do you know? I mean, what are you doing? And I didn't want to go through that. So I made it my mission to find all strangers. And you can do that too, all strangers. But I've since learned that you should let everybody that you know in your sphere know what you're doing. But you can't do it in such a way that you're calling them and asking them, do you know anybody that wants to buy or
Don't
sell?
be that annoying realtor.
Don't be that annoying realtor. You can talk about, your day. You can just talk about things that you're doing in your life, and it'll come back around. It's the art of conversation to be able to let them know what you're doing. They will ask you a question, then you got to be ready to answer it. But these were all free things, because you have to remember, wherever you go and whoever you talk to, if you can let them know what your industry is without like blatantly telling them, let me tell you I'm a realtor, it will come back to help you. Maybe not that day, but it will later on. And that's really all I did to start with. We took one small little condo community and we decided, you know what, we'll farm that community. It was 120 units, 10 buildings. Small, right? I mean, that was it.
We sold 14 units in that community our first year.
Right.
But
There's
here's
a lot of
you know,
simple things.
and I know he just walked out, but one of the important things that Jason said to everybody, and take this is a really important one, is whatever you do to market, you have got to have the resources to continue it. No mailing, no one-time thing is ever going to have the results that you want.
One post doesn't do it.
You have to
keep doing
take,
it over.
you have to be able to take and continue doing whatever you put in place, which is why he said you need 6 months of reserve to make sure that you're doing that. You know, we didn't start seeing results until mailing the fourth month of mailing over and over the comps to that neighborhood, and then we get a listing in there, and then it starts multiplying. But it's whatever you do, and that's not the only way to market, but there's millions of ways to market. But whatever you do, it's consistency, it's staying the track. And I would tell anybody in here, if you're a new agent and you're struggling and lead generation is one of your challenges, then get with somebody that can help you with lead generation. You've got to have a lead generation source. You've got to have something that you're doing, whether it's with a team, whether it's going on and figuring out what you can afford on Realtor.com or Homes.com or whatever it might be, but you've got to have some type of source.
I'm going to give you one. And look, I'm going to put everybody on the spot here because you guys done a lot of good audience participation today, okay? Raise your hand if you have at least 50 people in your life right now getting a market snapshot or some type of monthly update about the value of their home. At least 50 people in your database are getting that monthly email of some sort. Maybe 25%, 30% of you. That's free. Real Scout, we give it to you. You got trainers. There's lots of other sources. If you're not doing that right now, today, go home. Start with 10. Get to 20. Get to 30. Get to 50. The parents on your kids' basketball, soccer team, you know their name, you know their email, you know their address. Every single person cares about the value of their home. Start with that. It's free. You're providing something to 100 people that they value. They're going to get that monthly report in their email. They're going to poke around about it, and they're going to see your face. It's a first step towards being known, getting something of value, and not being annoying, because everybody cares about the value of their home, right? I didn't do everything great, and right when I sold, I had 450 people getting a market snapshot every month from me when I got out of selling every day, because everybody cares about that. So give them that thing of value. That's free. $0.00. I'm walking back here to Walther because he's got a question.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Bob and Ronna, for being here, and everybody else that actually spoke. And it's always an honor to keep learning from everybody else, right? I will say that just like everybody here in the room, like, you know, sometimes like they might have a problem like creating a lead. Like you guys say that you guys have leads that you can help out. So my question will be more like for anybody that's here in the room that will want to join like a team of you guys, what would they have to do in order to do that?
Well, funny you should say that, Walter. Olivia, raise your hand. So if you are interested in finding out about our team.
Julia, this is the other way that they bridge the age gap. Olivia, stand up real quick.
Stand up.
You get yourself an Olivia if you're in the age
Everybody
that
should
doesn't.
have an Olivia.
All right, go ahead, Rob.
So we have a card that you can certainly fill out, and I will call you if you fill that card out. It's amazing to me because people are like, "You called me." Yes, I called you. You filled out the card. I'm absolutely going to call you. And then we have an interview process, which sounds scary, but it's not. And people come in. They don't talk with just us. That's no fun. They do speak with us, but they also talk with some of our executive team members, and they are great. They explain how the team works, everything that everybody gets. I'm sure the Ellises, Jason, wherever he is, everybody offers different types of teams.
There are lots of great teams.
There are
Samson.
within Samson. There
And
are.
you can take a look at on the Cardinal Nest, and they have
a whole
team
page.
profiles
Team
and
Hub.
different things. There are, and that's how you can get introduced with us. And we always look at it with anybody looking to join our team. We want to make sure it's a win-win. It's got to be a good fit
It
for
has to
everybody.
be. It
And
has to be.
one of the things we're writing down our things from we got tasked from Jason about what we're doing this year, and one of our top number one is recruiting, because we are expanding. We just had Zillow just asked us to expand to a new area, and starting on December 2nd with the new allocation, they just put us in 24 zip codes in Northern Virginia. So that is happening now. And so we are going down to the Northern Virginia area, but we're in all
He
of
had to run and
Maryland.
get his Virginia license.
He
Had
did.
that before,
Got
so
it
he
now.
did that. Walther, tell everybody, because I heard it before. Tell
Your
everybody your story. Tell everybody how many.
It's incredible.
It's a great story here. How many transactions you've done?
Oh,
Put
we're
him
gonna
on
get the
spot.
Walther story.
I know. Go ahead, Walther. It's a good story.
What was that? Again, sorry.
Tell everybody how many transactions. Yes, tell them your business.
Okay. It's a little
So
weird
you-
to
you
have
be-
a spotlight, right?
So he'll tell.
I'll brag on Walther
Brag
for
on
him.
Walter.
So Walther, last year, we were at this gala in DC, Meredith and I, at the RIS Media, their Power Broker Conference, first week of September, and they got the Rookie of the Year nominees for the whole country, right? So we're at the gala, and they started announcing them, and they're like, Walther Vasquez Johnson, Sterling, Virginia. And Meredith and I our heads flipped. We're like, wait a minute, somebody from Sterling, Virginia is here? And they're nominated. So then we're watching, and then the winner is Walther Vasquez Johnson. And Meredith and I are like, let's go. He won Rookie of the Year from Riz Media in the whole country last year.
Yeah.
So awesome. He did not work for Samson at the time, so the second he sat down, Meredith and I put our beers down, and we were there. Hey, Walther, how you doing? Within a week or two, he had joined our family. So Walther, I think his first year sold like 65 homes, something like that crazy. So
Fantastic.
Walther is a hustler. He's on social media. He is always answering DMs and lining up clients. He's a great follow on TikTok and Instagram and all the things. So he's doing it in a totally different way, hitting that younger generation. So he's shy to talk amongst all of us. So I'll brag on Walther. So good job to my man back there. You can't join Bob Ronna's team, though. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. He can. Any other questions? We got time for like one more, and then we're going to close up shop here. Unless we're good. Going once. Going twice.
So
Anything that you guys want to close with, Bob Ronna?
You all have the power to do the same thing that we did. I'm telling you, you do.